Well, this crisis fueling new calls for President Biden to reverse his decision. Remember, it was practically on the first day to kill the XL pipeline, something Nebraska Republican Governor Pete Ricketts wants to see, the overturning of that decision, and he joins me now. Governor Ricketts, did President Biden's cancellation of XL make us more vulnerable to this attack on Colonial?
Well, there's no question that by canceling the Keystone XL pipeline, what you're doing is making us more dependent on foreign oil. And when you have something like this happen with Colonial, you want to rely on other parts of your system. And the Keystone XL pipeline would be another way for us to bring energy in from one of our best allies, Canada, and refine it here in the United States. So we would not be dependent upon that. And of course, the president is just kowtowing to the radical Green New Deal and really making our country more vulnerable to these kind of attacks.
Do you think, we heard from Phil Flynn on this, do you think that we've lost our energy independence?
Absolutely. Everything that undermines our energy independence, like canceling the Keystone XL pipeline, pushing the Green New Deal, all these things is going to make us more vulnerable. And it was one of the things that was a strength in the last administration, that we were starting to become a net exporter of petroleum products. That made us strong in the world. This is making us weaker in the world.
Now, we don't know all the details. We talk about Russia and their involvement, whether it had, but we know that there was some kind of payment to the hackers, whether it was in Bitcoin or something else. It totaled maybe $3 or $4 million. The question of whether the president knew about this payoff or even perhaps suggested that it be done is still up in the air. The president responded to a question about this earlier in the week. Let me play that and get your reaction. Roll tape.
Were you briefed on the fact that the company did pay the ransom?
I have no comment on that.
Now, no comment, Governor, is not a denial. Does it concern you that the United States might have been involved in that decision to pay off the hackers?
Yeah, negotiating with terrorists is always a dangerous thing. And we've seen this throughout our history. When you negotiate with terrorists, you just end up in a worse position. And this is why we want to make sure that we've got all of the above energy strategy, that we've got diverse forms of energy, and why the Biden administration should reverse its policy, start getting started on the Keystone XL pipeline, because that will help us become more energy independent and help avoid having to negotiate with terrorists in the future. I mean, when we pay off terrorists, that is a horrible thing for this country to be doing.
You know, you mentioned the pipelines. The administration can't keep it straight among their various secretaries about whether pipelines are good or bad, sort of a disagreement between the energy secretary and the transportation secretary. Let me play that clip and get your response.
Certainly when you're talking about the efficiency of moving petroleum products, that's why we have pipelines.
This particular area of the country, this is why we have doubled down on ensuring that there's an ability to truck oil in, gas in, but the pipe is the best way to go.
Isn't it true that pipelines are more carbon delivery efficient than trains or trucks or other forms of delivery? If you could answer just that limited question.
Is true.
So is there a little confusion in the administration about whether pipelines are a good or bad thing?
Well, I think this is demonstrating the incompetence of the Biden administration. Look, everybody knows, if you look at the data, that pipelines are the most efficient way, they're the most carbon reducing way, and they're the safest way to be able to transport this. We've got 20,000 miles of pipelines here in Nebraska that are carrying things like oil all across our state, and they do it in a safe way. So what this is really about is that Green New Deal. It's about these activists who are so radical, they just want to shut down all oil type of production so that we don't have this at all. And it's making our country weaker. It's undermining the energy independence that we used to have here in this country.
And is that why the prices began to go up even before the Colonial attack?
Well, I'm not a big economist. I can't tell you why prices are going up. I suspect what you're seeing is the economy is starting to recover. But that's all the more reason why we should be pursuing an all of the above strategy that strengthens everything, including our oil production. Taking a pause on our federal lands drilling, that's going to be something that drives prices up. The fact that people want to drive more, that's going to drive prices up. That's why we need to push forward with projects like the Keystone XL pipeline to make sure that we've got that energy to be able to supply to our people and make this country stronger and more independent.
All right. Well, let's hope we're over the worst part of the colonial hacking. We'll see if that happens. But Governor, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming in today.